Let's go Dolphins! I've uncovered some important updates that could completely change the team's course for the rest of the season and beyond. From unexpected returns to shocking setbacks, and even a possible roster controversy that no one is talking about yet. Believe me, this isn't just your average medical bulletin. These events could decide who stays, who goes, and who might be playing their last snaps in a Dolphins jersey. Intrigued? You should be. Before we begin, do me a little favor. If you're a true Dolphins fan and want to take the team to the Super Bowl, click the like button right now. And if you've been following the team for more than 2 decades, leave a comment saying, "Go Dolphins!" My heart bleeds blue and orange. Now, let's get to what's really happening in South Florida. Let's get right into it. First up, the return of Austin Jackson. After spending time on IR, the Dolphins opened up his 21-day practice window last week. Now, all signs point to him suiting up again, and possibly as soon as this week. This isn't just a boost for the offensive line. It's a pivotal moment for evaluating his future with the franchise. Jackson is under contract through the 2026 season, but as many of you know, it's a deal that carries significant financial weight. Cutting him before June 1st wouldn't provide much cap relief, but a post-June 1 designation? That could open the door for a potential exit strategy if the team decides to move on. That's why the final 6 games of this regular season are crucial. Miami needs to get him on the field, not just to fortify the line, but to truly assess whether he belongs in the team's long-term plans. Because let's be real, first-round picks don't always pan out, and Miami needs to know exactly what they've got before the offseason begins. But here's where things get even spicier. Larry Borom has played well in Jackson's absence. So well, in fact, that some fans, and even a few analysts, are wondering whether bringing Jackson back into the starting mix is the right move. But let's not kid ourselves. Jackson needs reps, and he needs them now. That said, there's a growing conversation about giving Borom reps at right guard, especially over Cole Strange. If Mcdaniel wants the most dynamic and flexible offensive line, mixing in Borom might just be the way to do it. It's not just about who's the better lineman today. It's about setting up the trenches for 2025 and beyond. Now let's shift gears to another key piece, Darren Waller. The tight end's 21-day practice window opens Wednesday, and it could be just in time to add a serious punch to the offense. Waller missed the first few weeks of the season, came back in that Monday night clash with the Jets, and then unfortunately went down again with a pec injury. But those few games he did play, he was electric. 2 touchdowns, dominant on third downs, and Tua's go-to guy in the red zone. He only played in 3 full games and part of a 4th, but even so, his numbers were impressive. Top 10 in touchdowns, top 20 in completion percentage and yards per route, and second in average depth of target among NFL tight ends with at least 10 targets. That's massive. The potential impact of getting Waller back is undeniable, especially as Miami looks to sharpen its red zone efficiency in these final weeks. And yet, here's where things get a little complicated again. The offense has been more balanced without Waller. That's right, more balanced. Since his injury, Miami's been deploying 6 offensive lineman sets, often using Daniel Brunskill as an inline tight end. And the results? Pretty hard to argue with. In the first 7 weeks, Miami's offense ranked in the bottom 10 in key metrics like EPA per play and rushing success rate. But from weeks 8 to 11, they've cracked the top 15 across the board. That's not a fluke. It's the product of smart, physical football, leaning into a more rugged identity with 6 big men up front. So as excited as we are to get Waller back, we have to be cautious. The temptation to return to the old system is strong, but it could derail the chemistry this offensive line has recently found. Mcdaniel has to find a way to integrate Waller without losing that gritty, balanced rhythm they've been building. Unfortunately, not all the news is trending upward. James Daniels is in limbo, and it's honestly baffling. Daniels was the prized free agent signing this offseason, a 3-year, $24 million investment meant to finally solve the right guard problem. But he played just 4 snaps before going down with a pec injury in week 1 against the Colts. At the time, McDaniel suggested it was a short-term issue. 4 or 5 weeks, max. Now, more than 10 weeks later, there's still no timeline for his return. In fact, McDaniel said this week he doesn't know if Daniels will play again this season. That's not just disappointing, it's deeply concerning. Miami paid for stability and upside at the guard position, and right now, they're getting neither. If Daniels never suits up again this year, the Dolphins will have spent a major chunk of their cap on a ghost. It's one thing to miss time due to injury, it's another to miss an entire season without warning after being the centerpiece of your O-line rebuild. Will he ever return to form, or even return at all? Let's wrap this first half of the update with a bit of positivity. Jason Sanders, the veteran kicker who's been a steady hand for Miami, is close to returning. But here's the twist. Is it even necessary? Riley Patterson has been quietly solid in relief. 9 for 9 on field goals between 40 and 49 yards, and only 2 misses all year, 1 from deep and 1 chip shot. He's holding it down, and honestly, there's a case to be made that Miami shouldn't rush Sanders back at all. Sure, they're paying him more, but in this league, performance speaks louder than paychecks. If Patterson continues to deliver, the Dolphins may have a tough decision on their hands. And speaking of big storylines, let's go deeper into this conversation, because this isn't just about 1 or 2 names. It's about the way this Dolphins team is being molded in real time, under pressure. With a playoff push in full swing and a front office trying to juggle injuries, contracts, and performance all at once. Let's get back to Austin Jackson. If he does return and performs well over these next few weeks, the Dolphins will be in a fascinating position. They could choose to keep him through 2026, hoping he continues to ascend, or they could use this stretch as a trade showcase and look to move him while his value is high. That would be a bold move, but one that gives Chris Greer flexibility. On the flip side, if Jackson struggles, Miami may be forced into a corner, either riding it out with a contract they don't love or cutting bait and absorbing the hit. And what about Borom? If he keeps impressing and ends up being more consistent than Jackson, are we seeing a changing of the guard at right tackle or even at right guard if Cole Strange continues to underperform? These are decisions that will ripple far beyond this season. But let's not gloss over Darren Waller either. When he's healthy, he's not just a pass-catching tight end, he's a matchup nightmare. But the dilemma is real. Do you mess with something that's finally working? Since the 6 O-line sets started taking over the offense, everything has improved. The ground game, the protection, Tua's comfort in the pocket, the red zone efficiency. Brunskill's role as a pseudo-tight end has created balance Miami's been missing for years. So when Waller returns, it can't be business as usual. McDaniel's challenge will be integrating Waller without disrupting what's finally clicking. Maybe that means more rotation, using Waller selectively on third downs or red zone plays. Maybe it means adjusting formations to accommodate both philosophies. But if the offense suddenly regresses with Waller back, the criticism will come hard and fast. Now, let's get real about James Daniels. This situation isn't just confusing, it's becoming emblematic of something larger. Miami has been here before, signing promising players only to watch them sit on the sidelines while fans and analysts ask, what happened? Daniels was supposed to be the anchor at right guard, a plug-and-play piece to solidify the line. Instead, we're staring at the possibility of an entire season lost and $24 million looking more like a mistake than a solution. The communication around his injury has been murky at best. We went from a 4-week estimate to complete uncertainty about whether he'll return at all. And it's not just frustrating, it's alarming. If this is a long-term issue, Miami may have to re-enter the offensive line market yet again this offseason, whether in free agency or the draft. That means more money, more resources, and more risk. And while fans might focus on star players like Tyreek Hill or Tua Tagovailoa, these trench battles, the offensive line rotations, the health of tight ends, and the kicking game are what define championship teams. That's why even a name like Jason Sanders deserves a closer look.